All right, what's going on? It's Monday night. It's about 8:30. I'm getting ready to jump on this stream here with Michael Lombard's from the Truck Parking Club, so I figured I'd record it. You can't see the GoPro from where that is over there, so, but I figured I'd record it anyways. Messaged me earlier, asked me if I wanted to jump on. Like, dude, don't know if I'm even any use to you because I haven't worked in over 2 weeks. He says, oh man, that's fine. Yeah, you can see that, but they can't see you, so that's always cool. So we're going to BS. He's going to ask me some questions. We're going to talk. But I did book a load. So Wednesday, I got to go pick a load up Butler, Indiana. It's about 36 miles away. I think it's like 52 minutes taking the state routes and stuff. I don't want to take the back roads. Go get a chiller, probably bring it back to the house, and then take it down to Springfield, Tennessee for a Thursday delivery. So I'm going to enter this studio, and then we'll see what we got to say.
On the show, on the Chad King and YouTube channel show.
Are you live? Can you hear me?
Oh, there he is.
What's going on?
What's up, dude? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's my audio?
Perfect.
Good.
How's it going with you, man? Where are you at? Is that the dojo?
Yeah, this is the garage. It's where all the madness happens.
It's a good setup right there.
Thank you.
Dude, I just had to get this snack in real quick.
That's all right.
But either way, so you've been chilling for a couple weeks?
I haven't done anything since September 25th was the last time I put money in the bank from working. So.
No shit. Are you hurting? Are you hurting at all?
No. No, if I was hurting, I'd actually go out and do something. I made enough money doing some things. One weekend I made like $4,000, so I figured I can take a couple weeks off. Want to. My birthday was at the end of last month, and I just didn't see anything that tripped my trigger. So,
dude, happy birthday!
Thank you.
But yeah, I was gonna say, if you were hurting, I was gonna say check and see what locations are near you. If you want to take your truck over, you can rip some of those videos. Like I said, we can.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wanted to take my wife up. There's a winery that we go to, and like a cider tap place that we go to up in Michigan, and there's one that's like 15 minutes down the road, and we were supposed to go around my birthday, and we just never went up there, and we still haven't went up, but I told her, I said, man, even if I'm in the wagon, I don't care. I'm going to pull into that thing and still make a video, even if I'm in the station wagon, because it's right there. I don't know if anybody's got one for Cement City or not up in Michigan, but I seen that and I was like, that's cool.
No, not yet. So yeah, anytime you want to go out, especially next time you go out with the truck, which, by the way, we could talk, like, this is just like quick 30 minutes, just some, there's a lot of Instagram hooped it. Content to play with, but I'll basically walk in the live stream. And then after about like a minute and a half, I pop you back in the studio, and then I'll say what's up. You let us know where you're tuning in from.
Nice.
Okay. You know, I'm at home. I'm here chilling, and I'm just gonna ask you your trucking story. Like, hey man, so why'd you get into trucking? And then you can kind of walk through that timeline, walk us up to like modern day, and then I'll ask you, hey, when's the first time you heard of Truck Parking Club?
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of give some. I think because we use some sound bites, you can talk about when the first time you heard of us was, and then time, and then you can mention some times you've used us.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Anything good? And then the last question I ask, I'll be like, hey, what do you think the number one issue in the industry is? And you could be like, hey man, I think it's rates. I think this is what I'm seeing. Like whatever you think it is, you can let it fly, dude.
Well, I mean, I got a list of things I could go on all day probably about what's wrong with the industry, but I mean, that's here nor there, dude. You don't have enough time for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, just try to keep it to what you want. What the most thing you want to whip out is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably go with the way the rates are in the spot market, but that's just the market that I'm into. So I can't sit there and necessarily complain about everything because some of the stuff I do, I am getting $3 a mile. Guys calling me for stuff that's over $3 a mile. So, but I mean, like, I don't necessarily just. I don't think I've pulled anything off the load boards to actually run. It's probably been close to a month since I've actually had to get a load off the load boards. But like, because I have people that just call me for stuff. There's one guy that, there's a Wilson hopper bottom trailer over in Frankfort, Indiana. He pays me to go over and get the trailers and come back. So he pays to the house. He pays me for my full round trip. And I think it's only like $197 maybe.
That's sick.
If
so
it's,
yeah, you kind of work off relationships you've built.
Yes. And then there's another guy that calls me up that I do nothing but like chillers for. So he calls me and he always pays me over $3 a mile. That's when I dropped that video when I was down in Cincinnati because I had two to move from up in Michigan all the way down there. And I brought them back down to the house, both of them, and stored them a couple miles down the road at this VFW hall for Saturday night and stuff. And then I dropped one off Sunday because there's no way I'd have been able to make it back with both of them. So it was nice to be able to find that location. So I'll talk about that.
Hell yeah. All right, dude, let's rip it. I'll bump you out quick, and then we'll rip this bad boy.
Alrighty.
Go live on IG. All right, Clubhouse, baby. We go live, baby. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome back to another edition of the Truck Parking Clubhouse. I'm your guy, Michael Lombard. Glad to be here on Monday. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend wherever you're at, over the road, or whether you're over the road or at home. Before we get rolling, I just want to let you know, 36 minutes ago, taillights issue 38, I believe, 39. Just dropped in your inbox in there, covering some good news in there. Some really hot topics, a follow-up from last week's newsletter, especially when it comes to some shady carriers who are out there operating. A recent study has linked some stuff to shady carriers, so definitely be wary to go check that out. And we've got weeks, some discounts. We got a survey in there that we'd love to hear from our trucker members about. So definitely check your inbox. Might be in your spam folder. I know newsletters, sometimes they don't go where you want them to go, but check it out. It'll come straight from us. It's just called Taillights, and then there's a little subject line in there as well. But and as always, a nice little health tip, especially if you're looking out for good quality, restful sleep. I've got a great hack in there on how you can improve your sleep without prescription medication or the use of groggy melatonin. So check it out. It comes out every Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time. But without any further delay, let's get in today's edition of the Clubhouse. We're going to talk some trucking with our guy, our boy, our partner, Mr. Chad Keegan himself. What's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot. How you doing?
Dude, we're doing all right up here. You know, it's a holiday today, so we've been feeling light. I know it's always, truckers don't really get quote unquote holidays, but we're keeping it light. We're having fun. It's Monday. I mean, we're just trying to get after it. What about yourself? Where are you tuning in from?
I am up in Northwest Ohio right now, sitting in a garage. I figured this would probably be the best place to go. Hopefully I don't cut out because I'm like bouncing between Wi-Fi and 5G since I'm away from the router, but this is the most quiet place that I could come and be able to have this conversation. If I was in the house, the dogs would be barking and probably fighting because every time I pick up the phone to call somebody about a load, that's just the first thing they do is start going at each other. And doesn't matter where I go, they want to follow me around and fight. So I figured I'd come out here and hang out with you.
Yeah, that's a good backdrop you got.
Thank you. It's pretty much all the trash stuff. I get extra stuff from memorabilia, things people send me. I'm kind of a collector when it comes to like trucking, old trucking memorabilia. I've got about 3 cabinets in the house full of like anywhere from Matchbox to bigger trucks like the one you have on your desk there to belt buckles and just anything that's involved in trucking from past, ashtrays, those little nice ashtrays they used to give out. So, yes, sir.
That's awesome, man. And we'll talk about your truck in a minute, but you collect all this trucking memorabilia. Clearly, I mean, you've got everything in that whole garage. You got stuff inside the house. Let's hear the Chad Keegan story. So what got you into trucking?
Well, when it was 2008, I was working in a factory, and my buddy, his dad had just got his CDL, and he was trucking over the road. Because, back in 2008, you basically had to go work for a company for 2 years before you could move on. Things aren't like they are now because the way, drivers quit constantly. You just can't go get one of those jobs where you're going to be home every day. That wasn't an offer. And then I didn't really necessarily want to go over the road because I just had a daughter. But at the same time, I like to travel. And I just thought it would be something different because I worked in a factory. And it was nothing but, people complaining about everything every day. And I just wanted to be by myself and go out and, see the country because I didn't figure there was any other way for me to be able to do that. So I just went to school, got my CDL in 20 days. I know that sounds crazy, but the first 10 days you're doing basically in the classroom, and then the next 10 days you're doing nothing but driving. They take you to, the school where you take the test with the equipment from where you're at. And then I got it, and I went out to TMC and trained for their 2-week thing. Came back home, didn't necessarily want a babysitter, so I didn't take that job. I took a different job that was more local. Worked for them for a while, and then, I kind of bounced back and forth here and there, used some of that flatbed experience to do some flatbed stuff that was more local up here. And then I guess in 2018, I really got tired of every company's BS that I was dealing with because it was like nobody would want to drive certain trucks because they were beat up and older. So I would take those trucks home, I'd fix them up a little bit, do anything to them, just sex them up. And then next thing you know, those people that didn't want that truck wanted that truck, and they took it from me, and they'd give me the next thing down the line. So I got tired of that. So I was like, I'm just going to buy my own truck. And I took out my 401k from a job that I had worked for Ruan, and I had bought the blue truck, the blue cab over that you've seen. And probably everybody on here has seen that interview from me the first time I ever met the guys, when Hunter did that with me in the blue truck. So, but that was inside of the truck. I don't know if anybody's seen the outside, but then in 2019, I started working that truck after I spent a year of going through it, making sure everything that was done, because it's a 1983 K100. So obviously it had been sitting for 12 years. I think they told me something like that. So I needed to make sure that that thing was road ready, DOT'd by a shop professionally before I felt comfortable getting in that and taking it down the road with other people, especially hauling products and stuff. So did that for a while. Then in 2019, after working that truck for 3 months, I bought my second truck, that K100 Aerodyne that was just featured in the video when I was down in Hamilton, Ohio, I believe, a few weeks ago, and worked that truck, and then got into an accident. That's when I started doing YouTube for trucking, because I wanted people to know what it was going to take for me to get that truck going back on the road, since it was, at the time, 19, 20 years old. So that's where I end up. And then I just kept working the trucks. I leased them on at first, to a company, and I ran local, and I kind of got tired of doing the same thing, and then I got my own numbers, so now I'm out and can basically go anywhere I want to, except I won't go to California and some of the places over on the East Coast. I just don't like the congestion, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to move around a bit in those parts of the countries. Yeah, your service broke up a little bit. You get the one you got the one truck, and then you ended up getting a second one. Where did that first truck that you got? Where did you find it?
I got on the truck paper and I found it. It was down in Fincastle, Virginia. Luckily, it sat along the back of a building. They told me they had purchased the truck. It's a 1983. They'd bought it in 1986. And when I went down there to buy it, they told me the 5 people that worked for their company that drove it through that time period. So I got the original owner's manual, bug screen, and all kinds of literature and stuff on the truck, which was cool because I got a history and I knew that it wasn't something that had been, passed along a lot. And they had taken that road out of service in the early 90s and painted it to match their owner's race car trailer. So they used that truck to haul their owner's race car around for a while until they took it out of service. Then maybe once in a while they would start the truck up and move the trailer around, but I'm pretty sure it sat for 2 solid years before I ever got it.
No, that's awesome. And then truck number 2. So truck number 2, where'd you end up picking that up?
I seen that that was on the Facebook Marketplace and stuff, and that was over in Delaware, the state. We drove over there in a rental car. I had to get 2 steers, brand new steers, and then I had to get tires mounted on them. And we were in a super compact like Nissan. It was brand new. I had to take the passenger seat out of the car to get one of the tires in the back seat and then one in the trunk. So of course it's weighed down the whole time. And I'm thinking, man, if these people at the rental company knew that I was taking the seat out, they probably might not have rented me the car, but oh well, no harm, no foul. That's a whole story. That picking up that truck and bringing it home was a nightmare. It was smooth for me to get the first truck because I went down by myself and drove it back home. The second time I took my wife with me. And when we were leaving the guy's house after I bought it, there was a fuel stop probably 2 miles down the road that we were going to go to. The top of the stack had fallen off and dropped down between the frame and cut an airline. So I had no brakes. And I'm literally a mile from this guy's house. I've got to cross a 4-lane to go 2 more miles down the road and get diesel fuel because there was no fuel in the truck. So I got no brakes. My wife's freaking out. This dude pulls up behind me. Luckily, we made it down there, and I coasted right into the fuel pump, got fuel, moved the truck, parked it, and then me and him went uptown, and he got me we got one of those quick connects to put it back. But I'm telling you, dude, my wife, I didn't think she was ever going to ride in that truck because she's like, I'm going to go inside this gas station truck stop here and ask him for a rag and start wiping these tables down because I'm going to lose my mind. I said, that's fine, honey. Do whatever you got to do. So that was a nightmare, but we made it, and I'm still working the truck today.
You broke up a little bit probably for the past 10 seconds, but that is an intense story. You and our boy in here, Ollie, he said, "Damn, man, yeah, that is quite the adventure you got there for truck number 2." And then, but I mean, I gotta commend it to you. I love that you leaned into content after going through that accident.
Yeah,
I think a lot of times when bad stuff happens, just in life in general, it's very easy to, but like. It's almost like a form of journaling out there, but it's a way for you to document it, not just for yourself, but for others. I think it's awesome that you decided to lead by example and really kind of show, hey, this is how I'm going to mount to come back from this and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, after that, I had a guy run out in front of me, just blew a stop sign. He claimed that his truck had stalled, but I seen him. He was down, like he was looking down the whole time he rolled through, and I'm like, are you going to stop? Thinking to myself, and the next thing I know, I'm right there and he's right there, and we ain't stopping. And luckily I stopped right in the middle of the road after we collided. There was a 10-foot ditch on the right side and telephone pole straight ahead of me from where I'd stopped at an angle, and if I would have hit either of those, I probably wouldn't have made it. So it was one of those situations where I took a month just to reflect. I didn't work or anything like that. I told the people I was leased to, I said, look, don't even bother me. I'll call you when I'm ready to get back in the truck, because right now I just need some time to process this and think, because that could have been it all. And that was just, probably 25 minutes from the house. So that's the last thing I would have want my wife to have to deal with if she was ever driving over that way, knowing that's what, where it happened at. But yeah, I thought this is probably a good opportunity to be able to show people what it takes to even run something this old, because there wasn't a lot of content about doing that stuff. Most of it's like, will it starts, you can watch that stuff as much as you want to, but if you really need to know parts and things like that, that's kind of the stuff I want to show, because a lot of people don't realize that you can still get a truck like that. You can spend your time on it and get it to where you want to and build it to your comfort. And then you can still work that truck and make money, and you don't even have to work every day if you don't want to. As long as you can set yourself up for success to where you can take some time off, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, two things there. Number one, really want to point out that that kind of moment of self-reflection. I think, I just had a conversation with a gentleman about that. We always talk about, the ways, in life when it comes to being successful, we always say it's on the other side of hard. Like there's this guy, that's kind of like an old saying, like, success is on the other side of hard. The idea of doing hard things, growth happens during the uncomfortable moments. And so for you right there's a lot of guys who, after that accident, will rush to kind of get back into the swing of things because of either making money, like it doesn't reflect, it comes with its own challenges. So commend you, one, for doing that. And then number two, you're absolutely right. Like, I think that there is a huge opportunity for guys if they're looking to enter the industry when it comes to equipment. Equipment's expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I'm on Facebook Marketplace very regularly, checking out the inventory on there. And if you know a gentleman such as yourself, or you're mechanically inclined, or you're willing to learn, and you can learn a lot off of YouTube now, because gentlemen such as yourself, you could find a 85 something, 1990 something for 25 grand, put another X amount of dollars into it, have something that's paid off in full, so there's no payment, and find a little bit more marginal success than rushing out kind of buying the newest piece of gear.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to do. I don't like everything. I have one vehicle payment, and that's it. Everything else I own. I don't like to have payments. I don't want overhead. And a lot of people are afraid of overhead. I talked to a few of my buddies that are truck drivers. I'm like, hey man, why don't you just get your own truck and do this? He says, I don't want the overhead. And I said, you have to understand, you're making way more than what you would before. So the overhead isn't that bad, as long as you got enough money in your bank account to cover your expenses if something goes wrong. The thing about the overhead is you have to have tax write-offs, or you're basically just going to be shoveling your money to the government at the end of the year. So that's not a bad thing, having overhead. If you need some new tires, when a good time to do it is December, because you're just knocking things off. But this is honestly the first summer that I haven't been out in my driveway almost every day working on a truck, or out running my butt off. The last 2 summers under my own numbers, I did that because I thought, I want to be out so I can meet people and do stuff like that. And just from 2018 until now, I've basically been out in that driveway doing nothing but working on the trucks. And this summer I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take it easy and chill. There's nothing that I need to do to that truck that I feel like I have to do it right now. Like, I painted it last year in my driveway. It's something I'd never done before. And I bought those trucks because I wanted to learn more. And having that owner's manual with that first truck really helped me out to learn more. It's like I'm more of a hands-on guy. If somebody shows me how to do something, I might not remember what they're doing, or I may mess something up down the line. But if I get my hands in there and get dirty and do it myself, I'm not going to forget that. I'm going to know how to do it. I would rather have my hands on the equipment, whether I mess it up or not, versus somebody else doing it at a shop that I don't know what they're doing. And then I just come back and pick it up and I think everything's okay. And then, 500 miles down the road, there wasn't a bolt that was tightened all the way because they missed something, and then something goes wrong. If I do that, I know I did that. I don't want to have, I just don't want my life in someone else's hand when it comes to that aspect. But I mean, don't get me wrong. If I need help, I'm calling somebody because I don't know everything. I don't know shit about the stuff. I just wanted to learn, for my own being as a truck driver, and that's my piece of equipment. So if something goes wrong with it, I want to be the one fixing it. I like to troubleshoot things. So that's one thing that I enjoy doing.
Carrier could use a Chad Keegan around because practical application is exactly where you're going to learn. As you can watch as many videos, but getting down and doing it is where the real work gets done. That's where the real experience comes from.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about me is if I need to take it to a shop, I have a shop that's with good mechanics I trust that I can take it to. And that's a problem with people in the industry. They're floating around so much, they have something go wrong with their vehicle. They can't take it to a shop where they know those people and they trust those people. And, maybe their truck isn't really messed up as bad as what the mechanics tell them it is, because sometimes there's people that they got greedy hands and they just want your money because it's cutthroat, industry. And anytime someone can rip somebody off, they're going to, because this society unfortunately isn't what it was 25 years ago, or even 20 years ago, 10 years ago when we were doing this. Everything's went up through the roof. So anytime you can save money, I highly suggest it. And that's how I've done it and been able to be successful. That's how I can take time off and not have to worry about being in the truck every day too, is because I don't have to worry about paying somebody else to do the stuff. If something goes wrong, I'm just going to fix it myself if I can.
Dude, well said, man. And speaking of, you mentioned some good stuff about write-offs, business owners buying tires in December. Freaking great little tidbit of a nice fun finance hack, because you can write that stuff off, which kind of leads me into my next question, because you're a guy who likes to save a little bit of time, save a little bit of money. So when was the first time you had heard of Truck Parking Club?
I was at the Crossville, Tennessee semi-casual show, and I'd walked into the building, and I first person I ever talked to was Evan. And I said, yeah, come over and check on my truck. We'll do a little shoot, because I told him on YouTube, I said, I'll put you guys on my channel, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm not the guy, but I'll send Hunter over. So then Hunter comes over, and this is the video I'm talking about. I had the long hair. I had on American flag cowboy hat and a cutoff shirt and stuff. I was doing it up because my truck is red, white, and blue. And there's American flags sitting in the bunk. So Hunter gets in, and I'm explaining to him that I drive these old trucks, and I don't use AC. And I'm just saying, there might be some things I have to change over. Boy, did I get criticized on that video. That thing has got a ton of views, but man, those people were eating me alive. And I thought, Judas Priest, if I can drive around in a truck with all the windows open and I'm comfortable, why are you so concerned if I don't run AC? That's just my personal preference. And this is this was at the beginning of August, I think, 3 years ago. So of course we're down in Tennessee and it's 100 degrees and we're all sitting here sweating, and these people are like, you're insane, dude. Go put some Freon in that. And I'm like, I do it in both the trucks. Like we live in Northwest Ohio. We live in an old farmhouse. There's no central air, so occasionally, and it's a wooded lot, so the house doesn't get too hot. But when it's super humid and stuff like that, I'll throw some window shakers in certain windows so my wife can have them. But I don't run AC in my bedroom at night. If I need, I'll just flip a fan on. I like to have the window open because I like to hear what's going on, just in case, because I do have two cool trucks sitting out in the driveway. And I'm fortunate that I don't have crazy people coming out here and trying to see me or anything like that. Or occasionally I'll have somebody stop and want to look at the trucks if I'm out, which I don't mind that. But if I'm not home, I don't, my wife knows where the pews are at, so.
No, it's good to know. Your service had gotten chopped up a little bit, but from what I take from it, yeah, you keep the windows open, a little bit extra safety and security. Not running AC in the trucks, that could be considered a hot take that I'm sure a lot of people. But I'll tell you, 40, 50 years ago, I'd say, even in the 80s and 90s, I bet you a lot less people were driving around with AC. I mean, there was a time when power steering also didn't exist.
Yeah. I know there's a few people that get the K100s and they're like, there's no power steering on this thing. Can you send me how your hookup is so I can steal this stuff from another truck or try to order? I'm like, yeah, but I mean, both trucks are AC trucks. They both need Freon. I don't believe the stuff 134 was the last thing that I dabbled with, because I did work at a factory where I would test down AC and heat units, and then I would have to suck them all the air out, add Freon. So I learned how to do that, and I was certified in that stuff. But like, if those are R12 machines, if I can't push R12 through there, I tried to add it one time and it was just like, lukewarm air. It was barely cooling it down in the summertime, and I just thought, I'm not even gonna mess with it. I could care less. Because I mean, if I need to, I'll go get some ice water and chug it. Then I won't sweat at all, because I'm not, I'm a slim guy. So I can control all that kind of stuff and the temperature of my body. I've worked in factories when I was younger, and I worked in a mold that was 180 degrees for 8 hours, sometimes 12 hours, 5-6 days a week. So I know how to control and take care of all that. So, and I don't want to, I'm like, if I'm in AC and then I get out and it's 100 degrees, I'm gonna have a splitting headache as soon as I get back in that stuff. Just going back and forth, I'd rather not. If I'm gonna sweat, I'd just rather sweat.
Good tips on heat acclimatization right there. Heat acclimation is the word I'm looking for, which is it's good. Builds mental toughness, builds resilience. We're all about resilience. That definitely falls in line.
Yeah.
That's there's a reason why we're having these conversations. I love it. I know, but recently, I know you said you've been hanging out for a little bit, but you were up by Cincinnati, and there was you had stayed at one of our locations recently. What brought you to that spot?
Well, I have certain brokers that call me, and there was two chillers up in Hazlet, Michigan. There's one guy who gets a hold of me, and I do a lot of work for him. I pull him out of Cincinnati. I'll take him over to Lafayette, sometimes up by me, Bowling Green, Michigan. But so he's got two chillers that are in Hazlet, Michigan that need picked up on Friday and then delivered either straight through or Monday. By Monday was the latest. So I thought, well, I do have I can pull into my yard, but those chillers were like 50,000 plus just on the trailer. And I don't want to necessarily drop it, because where I live, I'm not too far from a river and everything's sand and soft, and I have moles that will just tear my yard up. So I figured that was going to sink, so I dropped them down the road. But I wanted to be able to get both of them down on Monday and put them in. And I knew I was going to have to find a location so to where I could drop this, because the truck stops weren't close enough to where I was at. It probably would have been like a 45-minute turnaround for me to go back to a truck stop. And I don't necessarily want to drop my trailer with my chains and equipment on there at a truck stop in a paid parking spot and expect that thing not to have anything stolen off of it or anything like that when I come back, because, it's wide open. Nobody pays attention. Someone could back into your stuff. I could have came back Monday and that trailer could have been crippled, and then I'm in trouble because I left that trailer. But I got on the Truck Parking Club app and I was able to find 3 to 5 locations within a 25-mile radius probably of the place, the train facility that I had to take that down to. So I found the closest one. I believe it was in Hamilton, Ohio, and it was a brand new location. Looked like it was a Pride truck wash or something like that. I can't remember exactly the name of the company, but it was a truck wash during the week. It was gated. There was cameras. There was 14 spots when I looked at it and found it on Saturday. And then when I got there, it showed there was 14 available, but some of those were taken up. But then it went through and I was able to drop the trailer there. Felt comfortable with it. And it was literally 5 minutes from the train facility. So then I came back up to the house on Sunday, got the other one, ran it down Monday, bounced back up, grabbed that trailer, and then took it back. So that's my favorite thing about the Truck Parking Club, is the convenience of like that, because what I do is power only. So basically I'm taking somebody else's trailer from A to B. I don't always have a trailer. I don't necessarily always need to find somewhere like the truck parking, because I'm just bobtailing everywhere I go once I drop that trailer. So if I'm staying out, I can kind of get away with things that other guys can't get away with, because A, I'm bobtailing, and B, I'm in a old truck that's kind of cool. So I don't necessarily get harassed if I pull into Walmart versus somebody that's in one of the newer trucks, that they see that big semi. That's all they think is semi. When people see my truck, the first thing they think of is BJ and a Bear. So I don't, we're Smokey and a Bandit. They kind of throw things like that out, and I'm like, yeah. So I don't get harassed like another guy would because of what I drive. But then I don't necessarily, try to go out in those spots either. But I always put myself under a bright light to where anybody can see me and anybody can come and say, hey, you can't park here. We want you to move or anything like that. But yes, anytime I'm anywhere and I see a truck parking sign, I make a mental note of that because if I'm coming back through here and I need a place to stay, because in the wintertime, I don't necessarily stay in Northwest Ohio because of the salt and the brine and stuff like that. And just working out in the wintertime the last few years out in the driveway doing stuff like that, I would rather not. So I go down to Florida. Now down in Florida, it's super busy all the time at the truck stops, and there's just constant riffraff coming through. It's loud. People are honking their horns at 2 or 3 in the morning. Nobody gives a shit. They're wrecking into each other and crashing. So if I can find a truck parking spot that is through you guys that's super close and convenient to wherever I'm staying, I will go and stay there just for the quietness. So I can be alone and kind of think and not have to deal with the next guy trying to back up next to my truck, the next guy, pulling out. And then, because you get to a place and you think, great, there's 2 trucks beside me, I'm good for the night. And the next thing you know, you wake up and one guy's gone and another truck's here and this spot's open and there's, something backed up, or who knows what's next to you. But like just that constant thing. The first time I'd taken Frank out in December when I first started driving him after I switched out of the blue truck, I was down in Georgia at a pilot, or maybe I was at a Flying J, and I'm in the back row. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I feel the truck rock, and I jump out of the bed, climb up the thing, I whip the door open, and I see my mirror just getting ripped off, and some guy's trailer swung by and hit it, and it pushed it back. So I'm like getting up, and I don't have my glasses on. I barely have any clothes on, and I'm like, what am I doing? I can't go chase this guy down. He might not even speak English, not to mention he's not even going to realize that he hit my truck. He could probably give 2 shits less. He's taking off down the road. So I climbed back in the truck. Luckily, I was able to just bend the mirror back, and I didn't have any problems because of those brackets that just swings around. So but I thought, man, if I have to park at a place, I'm going to find a truck parking club spot. If there's, locations close, and you got 3,026 locations now showing on your thing. So where I go, there's plenty of parking. The first year I went down to Florida, there really wasn't any down in Miami area and stuff like that. And I'd seen the guys at Matt's, and I told them about that. And Evan's like, well, we're getting ready to go down there. And then the next following year, after they went down there and made all those contacts and stuff, they started popping up all over the place. So anytime I'm down in Florida and I see a location and talk to somebody, I'm like, hey, have you guys ever heard of these people? Because you can actually make money off the empty space you have right here.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd say a lot of the properties that have been coming on board are from people who, such as yourself, recognizing the issue, realizing it is tough at these truck stops. And number one, like, yeah, you've got an older truck, but again, just as big, like, you don't want to have to go out and fix it. And same thing, I love that the older truck comes with its privileges. I think that's another thing, another little fun fact drivers need to know is that when you have a cooler truck, more places are going to respect you and might let you get away with some stuff. But yeah, like the referrals, and for anybody who is watching this live stream, again, just like Chad, he has sent us locations who he believes can park trucks. You can go to refertpc.com and send in those referrals if you have locations or if you have any connections, because that's the thing. We can't be, we're a small team. We can't be everywhere. And for the guys out there who are parking every day and finding places or know some spots or know them, definitely shout out. And Florida remains, I'd say, one of the most challenging places to park. I mean, yeah, the truck stops are pretty wretched down there. They're tough. They're busy. There's a lot. I mean, you can just go on TikTok and probably type in Florida truck stop and see some sort of disaster going on. So Florida is always a state where we're looking for more of. It's tough. It's a peninsula. There's a lot of stuff that goes down, a lot of stuff that comes out. People sit, but no, man, that's awesome. I'm glad it's always been there. It's there for you, especially look out for your truck, especially if you are pulling something flatbed with chains.
Yep.
Like security's huge. I mean, for the weeks now, I've gone on TikTok and it's flatbedders who are getting stuff stolen, chains, getting, really. People are looking to take anything you want, and that's just secondary to the rest of the cargo theft issues going on out there.
Yeah,
But,
it's pretty sad that you can't have equipment and trust it somewhere without thinking I'm gonna wake up and my tarps and stuff's gonna be cleaned out, because honestly, you're not going to make very much money off that stuff online unless you're taking it for yourself. And if you're taking it for yourself, why don't you just go out and buy it? Because you're going to use that over and over. Why would you want to use somebody else's equipment? I worked for a guy, I'll make this quick, but I worked for a guy this summer and did a load, and I pulled his equipment out of his box because he's like, you won't need anything. So I'm pulling his stuff out and it's all raggedy and old. And I'm like, no, I'll use my own equipment, because I want to keep my stuff nice. I wouldn't want to go stealing somebody else's stuff. What if you went and stole somebody's binders and then they were all rusted up and you couldn't even get them out? What are you going to do, get $20 for scrap?
You're doing that for pennies.
Yeah.
Really, no points. Gentleman on your alley, he wants me to ask you about the gated parking spot in the middle of New York City in Brooklyn. Is that something you're familiar with?
No, because to be honest with you, I'd never go to the gated parking spot in the middle of New York, because I don't really care for the East Coast. It's just super busy. It's expensive. Like that, when I first started trucking, every time I went to New Jersey, I couldn't park anywhere for free. I always had to park at a truck stop or something like that. And there's one place, there's a TA over there, and this fellow might know what I'm talking about, where you can be there for a half hour. They'll let you be there for a half hour, but if you don't pay within a half hour, they're calling the cops and the cops are kicking you off of there. And plus every time you cross a bridge over there, you got to pay. And I don't necessarily, I'm already feel like I'm having to pay way too much for everything I'm doing in this industry. I don't want to pay to go park at some, crappy truck stop where, my truck's going to get hit or something's going to happen. If I'm going to pay to park, I'm going to pay to park at the truckparkingclub.com places, because they're gated, they're safe, and you don't have a bunch of people coming in bothering you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, New York City's always pretty anywhere in the tri-state area is really you're gonna run into issues, which leads me, speaking of issues, which leads me to my final question. Again, I gotta ask you, because we always ask everybody on here, but in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest issue in the industry right now? Or if there's something you could fix overnight, what would it be?
I think it would probably have to do with the rates. Just for me, because the rates on the spot market are hit or miss. They're not very good. You have bigger companies trying to take advantage of smaller owner operators because they can. And I just don't think there's got to be some kind of transparency, and the government the FMCSA needs to step in and say, like, hey, look, these guys are doing a service. All you're doing is forwarding information. You shouldn't be making that much money on forwarding information, because that's basically all brokers doing it. They're getting it from a load board or somewhere someone's posting that, and they're just transferring that information from A to B. Now, they're working on that rate with that person, but I have like people that I work through. I go directly through shippers, and we make the rate, and I give them the most fair rate that's best for me, but I'm also not trying to, take it to the cleaners like the broker would and then give the driver the smaller percentage of what they're getting. I think there needs to be something done with that. I mean, truck parking's obviously a huge issue. Some of the food at the places that you go to, that's another issue. The mental health is another issue, and that's why when I talk on my channel and I'm around other truck drivers and stuff like that, I always try to say if you can get away from the truck stop, if you're resetting and stuff like that, drop your trailer and go do something. If you can get away, go to the beach if you're in Florida. Enjoy yourself. See what kind of local area stuff is going on, and just get away from the madness of what you're dealing with day to day, especially if you're over the road. Go treat yourself. You only gonna live once. You don't want to, that trucking career to be miserable. And a lot of, unfortunately, it's a cycle to where you can get yourself trapped in there. You think that you need money and you can't do this, but at the same time, why not take care of yourself while you're out there? Because you're the one out there sacrificing everything when you're away from your family and stuff. So.
No, that's well said. I always think fondly of and there's plenty of stuff I definitely enjoyed, but I was doing a reset in St. Louis, and it's like didn't really know anybody around St. Louis at the time. Ended up going to a St. Louis Blues game. Went to the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, saw it because it's just and my truck, mind you, was at the Loves in St. Louis, and it's not a place you really want to spend 34 hours, so to speak. So it's like you gotta get out and stretch your legs. You gotta get out and move. Go see, again, you going right back to the beginning of the Clubhouse. You're like, this was an opportunity to see the country, and it's one thing to see. But again, if you're going to see the country, then go ahead. If you got the shot, go ahead and go out and see it. Don't just see it from the windshield. Kind of get out, go stretch your legs.
Yeah, you have to. If not, you're just going to go stir crazy and you're going to hate your job and you're going to hate your life. You can only sit on your phone for so long. Trust me, I edit content when I'm sitting around at the truck stops, and I get bored from doing that. Plus, I'm the guy that gets on the load board, so I don't know if you've ever heard the Motorhead song, It's Time to Play the Game, but that every time I reset that load board, that's how I feel. It's time to play the game, because am I going to find a load or am I going to get stuck sitting down here? Like up at the house, I don't mind getting stuck sitting here. This is the best truck stop I've ever been to because my wife cooks all the food. My bed's there, it's comfortable. My meals are always warm. There's always beer in the fridge, so I don't ever have to worry about that stuff. But when I'm out, there's a ton of things that I have to worry about and take care of myself without having anybody there, because I'm all alone. I'm a loner though, so it doesn't matter to me. Like when I truck down the road, I don't have a Billy Rigger Bluetooth headset that I talk to my buddies and stuff like that. I just turn on the music and go, because that's free right there.
Absolutely, well said. Yeah, those are some of the best times. Is just hanging out with yourself, being comfortable being by yourself is definitely. It's almost a requirement at that point. Talking. There's a time for talking, but there's nothing better than just locking in, throwing on whatever, and just cruising down wherever, no man's land, USA.
That's right.
But dude, number one, don't want to take up your whole night. I want to thank you for coming on. Will not be the last time to have you on, because I know you've got stories for days.
I do.
And so we'd love to, whenever there's something coming on, we're gonna have to bring you on here. So I'm gonna walk this one out to everybody out there who's watching. Number one, thanks for jumping on the Clubhouse. If you couldn't tell by listening to Mr. Chad Keegan, this is a gentleman who he makes content himself. So if you're on YouTube, Facebook, wherever, go look up Chad Keegan. His content is phenomenal, especially if you're interested in fixing trucks. This is a gentleman who wants to leave the industry better than he found it. And our mission at Truck Park Club is to help truckers save time, fuel, and money by reserving truck parking all across the United States, because we also want to leave the industry better than we found it. If you need truck parking tonight, again, right at the bottom of the screen, you can see you can use Keegan20 for $20 off your next booking. And with that, guys, we'll be back next Monday, 7:30 p.m. for the Clubhouse. Until then, take care, stay safe, frickin' hammer down. That's it, dog.
Sweet.
Frickin' crushed it.
Good. Oh, dude, I got so many stories, it's not even funny. I told my wife, every time a picture comes up on Facebook as a memory, I want to take that picture and make a YouTube video and just talk about that experience, because from the time of me getting my own authority in trucking, the shit that I've been through and had to deal with, and just the attitudes of shippers and receivers and stuff like that, it just, yeah, there's a story for every time. And sometimes in one trip, you have 10 different stories you can tell, so.
Oh man, that's genius content. Man, I might do that too. I should just take flashbacks and just make a YouTube video of it and just try to pump the YouTube. My YouTube channel finally hit 1,000 subscribers, so I'm pretty
nice.
So I know I should probably just ramp it up with ramblings and whatever, and I keep trying to go on there. I'm doing a couple of my, which also is true. Like I still do my own, like this is for Truck Park Club. I still have my own podcast show. I'd love to bring you on sometime where where literally it could just be you telling these stories, like just freaking riffing for like an hour and a half. It's just long form interview content where you can like tell your story, go into freaking any sort of fun facts, wisdom, anything you got where you could just rip. So I'd love to do that with you sometime, man. Anytime.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something real quick. When we were coming back from getting Frank the second truck after the whole air brake debacle and shit like that, we were running on 30 out of Pennsylvania. And if you ever been on 30, it's 2 lanes and it's curvy, it's up and down, it's all over the fucking place. Well, we're getting ready to go around an S curve and we're going up the mountain, and the pedal stuck on me because it's an old truck, and it's got the bar in there that goes back, and it's stuck. So the pedal was all the way to the floor, and I couldn't get it to stop. So I hit the brakes, and we're still rolling, even though we locked them up and skid. I look over at my wife; she's just laughing because I'm like, the brakes are stuck. So finally, and we're getting ready to go around that curve, I just leaned down real quick and grabbed the pedal back to where we could slow down, and I about lost my shit because I thought we're gonna fucking die. And I'm looking over at her, and she's laughing like she's crazy. And I thought, this woman is never probably going to want to ride in this truck again. But it was also like there was rat's nest all up in the headrest and stuff like that. So every time I would hit a bump, it would fall down on her. Shit would fall down on her. Thankfully, I got that truck sexed up enough to where she'll ride. So.
Dude, that's freaking epic.
Yeah.
That is epic shit right there. I love it, man. But anything you need, dude, let me know. Give me a holler. Stay in touch. Shoot me a text. Give me a call anytime. I'll give you back the rest of your night. And yeah, dude, just I'll text you. We'll set up another time. We'll work a podcast. We'll bring you back on here. Would love to have you, man. It's that's good stuff. That man, you can talk. You got a hell of a freaking story. I love it.
Yeah, Matt's next year, I'll come to the booth. If you guys got something going on, I'll sit down with you. I don't think I'm going to have a truck in this year because I just don't want to deal with the shit. It's a lot for one guy to get a truck cleaned up like that. And we didn't really necessarily have the room that we were supposed to have. We were super cramped where we were at. And I just didn't like that either. So I want to spend more time socializing with other people and not just sitting somewhere, you know?
Oh, dude, we'll definitely be there, and we'll definitely have like live streams going. Yeah, we'll definitely be riffing at the booth. You got a home base at our booth at
nice.
Next year, freaking no doubt.
That's what's up.
All right, dude. But I'll catch you later. I'm gonna go get ready to get myself to bed soon myself.
That's right. Yeah, you're an hour behind. Did you know that?
Yeah, because I figured you're East Coast time, Ohio, right?
I am. I'm about an hour. Well, over by South Bend is where the lines start switching over, and I'm about 2 hours from there. So I'm 2 hours from the time change. But you guys fall back too, don't you?
Yeah. When does that happen?
November 2nd.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good thing. November 2nd. Oh, yeah. It's that time of year, baby.
Yep.
Well, and if you ever want to get warm, by the way, if you didn't know, if you are, I don't know if you get down here a lot, but if you're ever down in the Austin area, frickin'
hit you up.
Give me a holler. Dinner on me. Anytime.
Haven't been to Texas yet.
Oh, dude, make it happen. Like I said, if you got any, especially if you're looking to just run away from winter for a little bit, winter from here lasts basically like Thanksgiving to President's Day weekend.
Nice.
Like February, so it's just like if it's freaking March, April, you're sick of the cold, or just whenever, man. Anytime you're down here on 35, you're headed to Austin, or you're down here with the wife, man. Freaking give me a buzz, dude.
Definitely.
I'd love to grab dinner with you.
Oh yeah.
Terry Black's.
That's what's up.
Some barbecue.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, brother. Have a good night.
Brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dude, anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
Later, brother.
Cool. Well, that was that. So that was cool. Good times talking to Michael Anthony Lombard. First time I ever met him was at Matt's. I was just got done cleaning the truck up for the day. I think I was walking up to see Rob from SH Tube, and next thing you know, I see him walking up, and some lady's walking out, and I pointed at him, he pointed at me, I pointed at him, and we were just sitting there chumming it up, and then some lady's like, he's supposed to be talking to me, I'm his boss or something. I'm like, sorry, I'm just a random guy we had been texting back and forth with. So it was a good time though. But yeah, definitely, that's always cool to be able to do things like that, and shoot the shit with somebody, especially to be able to tell my story. A lot of people don't know that, that's how I got my CDL, and that's when I started and shit like that. I wasn't like, my dad wasn't a truck driver or anything like that. My grandpa was a truck driver. I climbed in a truck at his place when I was a little kid. Other than that, I didn't know anybody who was no truck driver. So, well, all right, I'll be back. I'll catch up with you later. I'm going to go in the house.